Here is the English translation of the provided document, titled Transmigrated as a Love Minus Brain Canon Fodder. I got rich by sleeping with the villain. I've transmigrated into a book. Specifically, I became Keon Gun Gun. The stories upon Imus beautiful but brainless love minus brain canon fodder. The original host was a grade minus say severe case of love brain, squandering a winning hand, despite being uniquely positioned right next to the internet minus white most dangerous villain boss enjoying a natural advantage and prime opportunity. She had her priorities all wrong. Instead of clinging to this thick thigh of power, she single-mindedly hung herself on the crooked tree of her sister's husband, willingly acting as his doormat. In the end, not only did she empty her entire fortune to support him, but she was also manipulated by her step-sister and her crush, becoming a free pawn used to scheme against the villain and reap benefits. She ran errands and delivered intelligence for them, ultimately meeting a miserable death. As soon as I opened my eyes, I was locked in a tight embrace by an incredibly strong arm, unable to move even a fraction. "Don't move." A cold, piercing male voice dropped beside my ear, the chill seeping through my skin to the bone. My body instantly stiffened, ceasing all struggle. I obediently looked up toward the sound. The man beside me casually cracked his knuckles. The crisp-cracking sound was particularly distinct in the silent night. Hairy undisguised intimidation. Don't forget, when I hit people, I don't discriminate between genders. I instinctively shrank my neck, my heart pounding wildly. Almost forgot this guy is who Ohana the top-ear villain of the book, and in his eyes, am not a living person, but more like a living pillow with a body sent specifically for calming nerves, undating sleep. I quickly squeezed out a harmless, soft laugh, softening my tone to the extreme, terrified of provoking this god of death. "I didn't mean to cause trouble, it's just that you were hugging me too tightly, and I couldn't breathe. It wasn't intentional." The arm wrapped around my chest loosened slightly. Huohanef, he closed his gloomy eyes and uttered to cold, concise words. "Shut up, sleep." Not daring to utter another syllable, I settled obediently against his chest, and drowsiness slowly washed over me. It sounds absurd, but perhaps because I was single for too long in reality and never experienced such closeness, I actually plunged into a dream related to the original plot. The dream played out the entire novel's storyline, and I couldn't help but rant at the original host in my mind. What a great rich young lady. Beautiful, wealthy, great figure, and born with a rare calming fragrance. Yet she planted her love brain right in the center of her heart, ignoring the powerful, god-steer villain backup right in front of her. She obsessed over a hypocritical, shallow sister's husband, giving her heart, liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys, and wallet, only to end up dead tragically. It's stupidity beyond saving. The most annoying part is my real name is Keon Gun Gun too. Such an auspicious name meaning rolling in money. Yet the original host turned it into a synonym for tragic canon fodder. I made up my mind internally once I stabilized the situation. You'll binge-watch the drama Wang Baochu on digging well vegetables for 18 years 100 times to flush out the love wastewater from her brain. Fortunately, I am awakened pragmatic. Knowing the times makes a hero survival and making money are the hard truths. Even if my current situation is awkward, I've engraved the principle of bending and stretching into my bones. The Huahan FEI behind me is a ceiling-level existence in the entire book. Whatever wealth, status, or connections the protagonist has, he possesses whatever the protagonist lacks, like overwhelming methods, top-tier background, and peerless look she also has. The only difference is his moody temperament and intense hostility, making him a harbinger of doom others avoid like the play. The original text described him precisely a faint, mocking smile often playing on his lips, like a venomous snake lurking in the dark, watching its prey walk step by step into despair before slowly torturing it to extinction. I comforted myself inwardly, forget it, looking at his top-tier looks, massive wealth, and the fact that this is probably just a dream. Being hugged to sleep for one night isn't a loss. I closed my eyes happily. The heavy pressure on my chest mixed with warmth, bringing an inexplicable sense of security and a touch of sadness. So this is what it feels like to be held properly while sleeping. His body was like a scorching furnace, perfectly dispelling the chill from my chronic coldness. I slept exceptionally soundly without waking up frozen once. Dawn broke, and bright light streamed through the floor to minus ceiling windows into the bedroom. I slowly moved my stiff, numb limbs and looked down instantly. My blood ran cold. That long, hale arm was still firmly looped around my chest, identical to the scene in the dream. I gasped, my whole body trembling uncontrollably. It's over. This isn't a dream. I really transmigrated into the book as the love-brained canon fodder Keon Gun Gun. Huo Haneth, I behind me was woken by the noise. Having slept peacefully for the first time in ages, his hostility had receded somewhat, putting him in a relatively good mood. His voice carried the lazy hoarseness of just waking up, making noise early in the morning, startling like this, looking for death. I instinctively turned around sharply, and a stunningly beautiful face crashed into my field of vision. Pale skin set off sharp brows and eyes, the contours worch, is old and 3-dimensional, radiating a powerful aura and breathtaking handsomeness. I swallowed subconsciously. My lifelong hobbies are simple and straightforward: greedy for money, lustful for beauty, and cherishing life, none of which can be missing. The man in front of me had money, looks, power, and influence, perfectly hitting every one of my preferences. But the next second, the corner of his lips curled into a shallow arc, a smile that didn't reach his eyes, thin and distant. Don't think that just because you slept with me peacefully for one night, you can climb into my bed and have an unrealistic dream. A snap back to reality, instantly perfecting my expression management, not daring to be distracted for even a second. He continued flatly, his tone full of disdain and impatience. I have no interest in women. I understood instantly, clearing up years of confusion in my heart. No wonder in the original book his self-control was explosive. Despite having soft fragrance in his arms nightly, he remained celibate. In contrast, the righteous male lead was easily seduced by beauty, entangled messily with the step-sister, leading a chaotic private life. Yet Huo Hanef, I could sip tea calmly while watching the original host get bitten to death by a mad dog. His nature was utterly cold. I couldn't help but secretly speculate, does he already have someone in his heart? Is it that silent personal assistant who stays by his side? Or the doctor friend who treats his leg ailment year-round? My imagination ran wild. The next second, a sense of weightlessness hit me, splat. Huo Hanfi, I pushed me out of bed along with the blanket without mercy. I fell onto the soft carpet, stunned and furious, 3 parts bewilderment, 3 parts shock, and 4 parts anger surged in my heart as I glared up at the man on the bed. Huo Hanfi, I propped his forehead with one hand, leaning lazily against the headboard, raising an eyebrow nonchalantly, his oppressive aura pressing down. What, not convinced? When under someone else's roof, you have to bow your head. A wise man doesn't fight when the odds are against him. I instantly suppressed all my temper, plastering a sycophantic, brilliant smile on my face, even more pleasing than the roses blooming in the courtyard. No. You act with your own discretion. I'll obey 100%. I wouldn't dare be dissatisfied. A few soft words dissipated Huo Hanfi's hostility, greatly improving his mood. He glanced at me inferently and spoke as if bestowing a favor. You know your place. Speak, what reward do you want? My eyes lit up instantly, glowing with a sincere and frank smile. I want money. Huo Hanfi, I was clearly stunned, then let out a low laugh, looking at me with playful surprise. No wonder he was surprised. The former original host always asked for freedom or romance, acting pretentious and stubborn, which led to her tragic end. I am not that love-brain fool. Romance is false. Only solid gold and silver in hand are the foundation for survival in a chaotic world. Hey. Wrapped in the blanket, I slowly shuffled to the edge of the bed and boldly raised a finger, speaking like negotiating a business deal. Fixed price, 1,000 per night. Huo Hanfi, I raised his eyes with interest. a hint of probing in his gaze. I explained confidently. Your status is noble, and you handle numerous affairs daily. 1,000 tall ills can't buy a night of peaceful sleep. 1,000 for a whole night of stable rest. The cost minus performance ratio is maxed out. You won't lose out on this calculation. He gave a slight nod, actually agreeing some logic to it. The big shot approved, and I completely relaxed, my smile becoming even more earnest. Daily settlement is best, paid by labor. I take the money to do the job. I guarantee I'll be obedient and stable in the future. Never throwing tantrums or being difficult, focusing wholeheartedly on accompanying you to sleep. The amusement in Huohanefi's eyes deepened. He asked casually, need extra bonuses, night shift subsidies, or monthly performance? I waved my hands frantically, pretending to be morally upright. No need. No need. One shouldn't be too greedy. Doing the job dutifully is enough. Simple daily settlement is fine. As soon as the words left my mouth, he stretched out his long arm, grabbed his top minus tier phone from the nightstand, and tapped the screen a few times with his fingertips. Less than 2 seconds later, a crisp, pleasant electronic female voice rang out from under my pillow. Transfer received $50,000. I stood there petrified on the spot, my brain blank, with only one universal exclamation echoing in my heart. Damn, my vocabulary fails me. One holy SHT sums up the universe, worthy of a top minus tier villain boss, spending money lavishly, ungenerously, directly transferring excess payment without following conventional rules. No wonder he has billions and immense power. This kind of financial muscle. I was so excited my hands and feet went soft, nearly spinning in circles holding my pillow. I watched my unsophisticated, money minus grubbing display with cold eyes, yet, instead of disgust, he found it fresh and interesting. The original host was aloof and pretentious, full of resentment and unwillingness, causing endless headaches. This new one is straightforward, greedy for money, clear minus-headed and pragmatic. Not clingy, not pretentious, not all of minus-brained idiot, which suited his taste surprisingly well. 1,000 per night? He spoke slowly, his voice deep and magnetic, tinged with playfulness. My sleep, Huohanefi's sleep, isn't that cheap? I reacted instantly, immediately offering flattery naturally. Your status is priceless. My perspective was too narrow. In the future, I guarantee quality and quantity, focusing on serving your sleep without cutting corners. I gave a feint, his tone casual yet domineering. Stay put and behave, and the money won't be lacking. With that, he threw off the covers, got out of bed, his tall, slender figure radiating pressure as he walked straight into the walk-minus-in closet. I sat on the ground, frantically pulling out my phone to refresh the Alipay balance page repeatedly. Staring at the solid 50,000 yuan in the account, I smiled so wide my mouth wouldn't close. The first huge sum arrived. The start was rich, stable. I completely escaped the original host's love minus brain fate, distanced myself from scumbags and bitches, clung to the villain's thick thigh, focused on making money and building a nest egg. Life ahead would surely be smooth sailing and worry minus free.